Like to begin with the application. Please stand. Commissioner Hamilton.
Lord, we thank you for your loving kindness. We thank you for your tender mercy. Bless each and every one that's here on tonight in a special way. Bless this meeting here in your name, amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Adams.
Present.
Commissioner Harrelson.
Present.
Commissioner Henderson.
Here.
Commissioner Henry.
Present.
Commissioner Isom.
Present.
Commissioner Jones.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats. Commissioner Singleton.
Present.
Mayor Mahan.
Present. President of citizens' comments. Brings us to the agenda item, appointment of interim city manager. Is there a resolution or something?
I'd like to,
Chair recognizes Commissioner Singleton.
I'd like to offer a resolution where,
Well, it's, would say, for instance, if there's should we adopt resolution on the agenda?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Is there any, do you have a resolution to pass out?
I'd like to voice one.
You guys want to have anything for the clerk? Or you just gonna read it?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Adams. I'll have you dictate or say what the resolution is, so we can know what we're going to be discussing.
You can't hear it.
Proceed.
Proceed.
Beware section 3.15 of the city charter states that the city commission shall employ a city manager and shall appoint a city manager and a clerk, each who shall be named for an indefinite period and shall be removable by the commission at its pleasure. And where section 3.19 states that the city manager shall be the chief administrative officer of the city, and he shall be chosen by the commission solely on the basis of his or her executive and administrative qualifications, and shall during his term reside in the city of Benton Harbor, provided, however, he shall be a citizen of the United States of America and shall have attained the age of 25. And whereas there's a vacancy in the city manager's position, that the city commission shall appoint a interim manager until such time as search is done to fulfill the position permanently. And whereas Mr. Ellis Mitchell is a city resident and has met the qualifications of section 3.9, I hereby ask the city commission to appoint Alex Mitchell as the acting city manager until such time a permanent city manager is appointed, and he shall serve at the will and pleasure of the city commission.
Support.
The motion has already been made and supported. This leads to discussion. Chair recognizes Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I'd just like to say, I'd like to remind each of my colleagues that everything that we say tonight and hereforth is public record. So I'll implore each one of you to keep your comments to the matter at hand, whether you agree or disagree with any actions or whatever. We have a responsibility and a right to protect the city from any harm, any lawsuits, or anything else. So if you have, I just implore each one of us to keep our comments to the matter at hand. You're here to vote either yes or no, whether you disagree or agree with the actions that were taken. As a city, we have a responsibility to protect said city. So our comments, our actions are all public record. And because it's public record, we need to keep our actions and our comments to the matter at hand. We have a responsibility to protect that city, whether we agree or disagree with any actions that have been taken. That is our right, that is our duty, but we should not endanger the city by saying or making comments that are not relevant to the matters at hand. And again, we're here to decide yes or no, whether you agree or disagree. Keep your comments, your emotional comments or outbursts, please keep them to yourself and make a decision, yay or nay. You don't need to, these are my comments as it relates to this. And I'll say to the media, these are my comments. I will not be making any other comment other than what I'm saying here tonight about the matter that we're here to discuss. So whether you agree or disagree, we have a responsibility to hold the city blameless against any actions or words or deeds, whether we agree or disagree. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
I do appreciate my constituent for stating that. I think we're probably about 4 or 5 days too late. The city's already liable, will be sued. My other question becomes this, Honorable Mayor, to the chair. Speaking to MML today, in which I got a call back around 11 o'clock, just a statement of what's going on in the chaos. They said it was very hard to try to find the city manager last time they went through this. We employed them several times to go back, bring us another candidate because of what happened down here in City Hall. The next statement becomes, it seems to me as if we've all already talked. We don't need to pass a resolution, but we've all talked. I mean, Mr. Harvey's back here, been off. I would love to have him as a city manager. There's a lot of people in the audience that I would love to have as a city manager. There's so many people that we can bring back to Benton Harbor. My next question becomes, where has this young man been? Has he passed background check? I'm not saying he's a criminal or not. But there's a lot of money that needs to be signed for this, checks, balances, and all these kind of things that need to be handled. And who gives you the right to go find us a city manager before you let one go? Where did you get that kind of permission from? Who runs the city to that point? So what's gonna happen is this. Every time somebody gets 5, then we get a new city manager? Because you just can do it? So what then became with MML, the question comes, what did the city attorney say? They said, have you asked the city attorney, is this the right way to do it? What about the fair hiring practices? What if somebody else wanted the job? So we go find a friend and go say, hey, I got 5, I'm gonna find the one I don't like and get someone I possibly can like. So this is harmful to the residents, and that's my constituent did say. We don't need to harm the citizen. I charge every one of you that had this action on money that you have hurt. and harm the city residents, the business owners, the employees, and everybody who's been involved with this. You have harmed them. So to keep going forward and keep going, now we're gonna say we're gonna put out an application process later. But we already had the candidate, why you putting out? The word in there says permanently. So now we're gonna appoint somebody permanently? Who knows how we been at where they live at? Can you show us evidence, or is that only a couple people get the resume? This is a board. This is not a five-finger movement. And I know some of y'all might not have authority nowhere else. So you make moves like this. You do stuff like this because you finally got a little bit of power. But know this, that for every move you make, you gotta pay. So we'll be paying the former one, and maybe we have to pay this one again, or pay the other ones again, or whoever else will come and sue. How many city managers have we had? With some of these same individuals who making these decisions, been through the same thing. Well, people don't like you, they fire you. Right. I would not want to work under that kind of environment. And I would ask every one of these employees, as soon as you get a better opportunity, that go for the police department, that go for anybody else, fly the coop. Because if they don't like you, they'll get rid of you. What has been promised to these people? What? I got the floor, don't I? I don't stop you when you talking.
Okay.
I'm talking about the resolution. I'm talking about the resolution. And I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm talking about the resolution. So again, what you got promised? What was promised made to you if you're talking? If you interrupt with something given to you, what was made? What was said? What's being hand delivered? The mayor, you just said last week we had an emergency. So who's saying it's not an emergency today? Anybody stop the emergency? How do you come to a point and you say we're in an emergency? And don't think the state is not watching. Because we just got out of that. And I'm gonna say this and I'm done. Thank you, Honorable Mayor, for 2 extra seconds. We want to go fight the state because of the school. We want to go fight the state because of them taking over Benton Harbor. Some of y'all need babysitters. Some of y'all need people to watch over. So I'll say this, I don't support it. I asked the city attorney to weigh in, to give us a legal opinion on what we should do and what we should not do. And city residents, pay attention to what the attorney said. If you don't even respect your attorney, if he says something wrong, he might be next.
Is there an agreement that the proposed that you have that the proposed interim city manager is going to be working under?
Like you stated in the motion with the job that speaks to what the duties are and everything. But as far as compensation, I would like to amend the motion to add that the personnel and finance committee present that.
When will they present that? I would just say, Commissioner Singleton, it would be, I think, a smoother process, or more appropriate process if there was something that was in writing that the city clerk had.
So what are you asking about salary or anything?
Well, what the salary will be, what the vacation, what the benefits will be, just in terms, what are the terms of the employment, even though it's interim, but there still has to be terms as it relates to an employee of the city of Benton.
Right now, what we really concerned with, I believe, also is salary, and then all the other uh, terms would be that of the city manager position. The city manager position already, whatever other department head would get, that person should get the same thing. So the only thing that we're talking about now probably is salary, so we can add a salary.
Just add a salary for the floor.
We can make a motion that the state of salary. How much?
So, do it for free, they have my people for free, for a whole week.
I'll just order,
Chair,
let's have all comments from the audience. And I'm asking my colleagues to set an example, in terms of when someone has the floor, be respectful of that. So just Commissioner Singleton, just to be clear, so you're saying that the motion that you made, you want to amend it to add a salary?
Yes, sir. And that all other benefits that any other department head get would be the same thing that the interim would get until we get a full-time city manager.
And the proposed person, have they agreed to that?
We had not agreed. That's what the commission will be on.
So are you making an amendment?
Yes, sir.
What is your amendment?
That, through the original motion, that the acting city manager, as far as compensation, will receive that whichever any other director of the city.
But they make, the directors make different
Right,
amounts.
talking about benefits, but then we're talking about salary, then I would ask that the salary would be the same thing as the director of public safety,
Which is what?
which is my knowledge is $85,000.
support.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Monies are in the budget for the city manager's position. And we were paying city manager, previous city manager, a salary, and that money is in the budget. And I do believe that the increase in salary for the city manager is in there too, even though we didn't approve it. So I don't think there's a problem with offering this qualified gentleman the same amount that we paid our previous city manager
As interim.
as interim.
So do you know what the current city manager's salary is?
I believe it's 90,000. That's that we're just talking, not benefits. There's benefits included to it, but because the interim is coming temporarily, I don't think those benefits are gonna be required for him. And it's just a salary.
Well, the thing about it, Commissioner, when you start talking about an employment agreement in the terms, if you came to work and slipped and fell and got hurt, or workman's compensation. I mean, it's more than just saying you hired. You know that.
Of course I know that.
Right. So I'm just trying to flush it out, because after this body votes, it's legal. So, and again, we're not talking about our money, we're talking about the residents' money. So when we put an agreement in place, not only is it to protect the city, but it's also to protect the residents and protect the employee. That's why there's terms to the employee. Vacation pay and all these different things. Now, is this something that's gonna be negotiated on the fly later on?
But Mayor, there's usually a standard operating mode. And even corporations, small communities like us, there's a standard. And for every employee, this is the United States. So it is, it's a standard.
Right, I'm just,
Everybody gets Social Security, everybody gets FICA. So it's a standard, there's no Einstein on this one.
No.
It's just,
right, no, I'm just saying the clerk's salary, the clerk's benefits. I know certain directors, like this director of public safety is a part of the union. So it's different. The water plant, the director of the water plant, I believe, is a part of the union. So the city manager's position is really distinct with a difference from the rest of the department heads. It has always been.
the motion is.
Well, we just, I mean, you said that's an amendment with the salary, so I'm just trying to see what are we gonna do? Right, but we still have to have, one person said 85, the third ward commissioner said 90. Chair recognizes the mayor pro tem.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Is it gonna be a part of the pension plan? The former city manager got a pension. So, I mean, we're saying the same benefits. There's multi-benefits that is connected with this. I don't know if, say, a person can even participate in the pension program. I mean, so my suggestion is for the five or for the ones that I've already negotiated and worked this out. For us to get a agreement, maybe we can get a 1 week agreement. And then you have your committee meeting, and y'all negotiate again. And go and negotiate with them and bring it back with a real contract or plan, because this is the city government. There's stuff that still needs to happen. The police chief or whoever, the county sheriff needs to check background. We don't know what has happened. You know, and to do the same thing that happened before, give somebody, we give them a raise already. There's a $5,000 raise just happened right there before we even moved. We went from $85,000 to $90,000. So what are we really voting on? If we're gonna hire them, but you don't know how much you're gonna hire him for. You don't know if he needs medical benefits or not. Does he want to pay into the pension plan or not? Can he even get in the pension plan? What are we doing? The cart is before the horse, and as my very eloquent ward commissioner always says, why don't we kick the can down the road? The can needs to be kicked. Is there an emergency? Why are we doing it today? Why can't it happen next week? Because y'all already getting $400 this month. This is the second special meeting that y'all in charge us, and it's $100 a meeting. So we're getting paid. Y'all want to do one next week?
Mayor pro tem, I want the city attorney, in terms of, from a signature standpoint, what authority would an interim manager have signature power on all documents? And what would you say about in terms of operating with a kind of a real loose leaf employment agreement?
If this commission should choose to appoint an interim city manager, I believe that person would then be cloaked with the authority of the office and would have the same signature power as did your prior city manager. I believe that the Personnel and Finance Committee is the one that drafted the last employment agreement with Mr. Watson. And they could use that as a guide. I heard some suggestion that it go to the Personnel and Finance Committee to to negotiate a contract. So certainly that prior document that was furnished by the Personnel and Finance Committee could be used as that guide. Certainly the terms of Manager Watson's contract was as suggested by Commissioner Singleton. It is that he received the salary, he received benefits as the other department heads did, and then there's a listing of other rights and responsibilities that he had. So, Mayor, I don't know if that answers your question or not, but I wouldn't think that it would be difficult. I also want to remind the commission that you do have a personnel policy, so I would assume that whoever is reviewing and constructing a document would take a look at this. There are some requirements as far as application. There's some issues regarding nepotism. I don't know the individual that's under discussion, so I don't know if that person is subject to the requirements or restrictions of nepotism. So those would all have to be checked out. Somebody else mentioned maybe a criminal background.
Is that in the policy?
Those are things that are referenced in the employee handbook of the city of Benton Harbor. Yes, sir.
Is it prior to hire?
It is. It is anticipated that there would be an application submitted in advance, and that there would be multiple applications to take a look at. It does allow, though, for a kind of a temporary position, a temporary hire, subject to the background checks and other things that I previously discussed.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Before this meeting started, I was in the hallway. Hold on, I'm gonna bag up. Being a businesswoman of over 40 years, the first line of business was I knew that everybody wasn't gonna like me, and I wasn't gonna like everybody, and I would definitely show them the shop down the street.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, the same thing is in any business. Business is business. It has to be handled like business, just like a Bible. Read it and show yourself approved. We have to read our city charter to do the same. I was standing outside before this meeting started, actually the committee meeting started before this one. And there was a young man out there, and he was researching, and he happened to ask me a question, not knowing who I was, and nor did I know him. And he asked me what interim meant. And I said, Google it, ask Siri. She's smarter than some of us, actually. And then she can be dumb too, like me. How about that? Okay. Dumb is as it acts. The young man didn't know who I was, but in my Googling and asking Siri, she proceeded, and she speaks loud, and he was able to hear the different forms of the meaning. And this young man was sent here by my colleague, Pastor Seats, to actually sit out here and apply for a job from the street. I really appreciate an educated gentleman that knew that our city was in trouble to look, read, and research enough to reach out and help us to make sure that we don't fall back into an emergency state, that chose and took upon himself to drop off a packet that I found in my mailbox. Okay? When you want somebody to know something, communication is a key. I didn't have to talk to this gentleman. He knew where we were. All of our information is public accessible. Public accessible, phone and address. Phone and address. And with that being said, I was actually impressed with what I read.
And if interim means interim, it's only for a short period of time. Because something else is real wrong, whether you want to hear the truth or not. And sometimes it's some of us. We find bald spots in different places in our lives that need to be patched up. And when something is wrong, that's what we have to do. We have to fix it. We have to fix it. And if we have somebody that's capable of stepping up to the plate for a short period of time, what's the problem? What is the problem? What's the problem, Ben Harbor? I need somebody to help me out. I'm just a beautician, not a magician, but I do have a couple of tricks up my sleeve. And this is not one of them, because my life is at stake too. I pay a whole lot of taxes on a lot of properties. 152 Lake Street, Benton Harbor, Michigan. And with that being said, nobody had anything to say with the law that was broken in this chamber without the rest of the people's elected leaders' consent. Nobody had anything to say. But it was very disrespectful for one of us as an elected official to have someone to come into your chamber perpetrating a real fraud. Sad and very unfortunate that I would try to preach a truth to you on a Sunday and lie to you on a Monday, or even a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Thursday, and sometime a Friday. It may even try Saturday. Can we call for the question?
Is there a resolution that's, Chair recognizes Commissioner Hayes?
I recognize that Commissioner Adams called for the question.
Well, no, we need clarity on the motion.
So what is that? Yeah, what are we voting on?
Well, I got a point of clarity. Real quick.
Salary as is, motion as is.
Wait a second, I got a point of clarity real quick for the financial portion. Can I get a point of clarity?
We have
A point of clarity on the financial information. I'm not gonna talk about the trash contract tonight.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor.
point of
Sister.
order.
Appreciate that. Appreciate it. So, Honorable Mayor, real quick, just wanna know, how much are we gonna pay, how much we gonna pay the said individual if hired? Is the said individual employed anywhere else? Does he have to give them timeline for leaving that job? Last I thought, the said individual was working at another.
Point of order, Mayor.
Point of order.
Can I get the question answered? This is employment. We're not getting a babysitter, this is employment. What are we gonna pay him? How much are we gonna pay him?
What's the salary?
90 or 85?
Is it 85, 90,000?
Motion I put on the floor for 85,000.
Okay.
She don't want 85, she want 90. She's looking at him to see what he gonna work for.
Honorable Mayor,
Given with the
the
budget.
chairman of co-chair of finance and personnel said 85, and I think that's what we'll put in the motion. Since it's just temporary anyway, until something is better and further negotiated.
So I'm gonna go back to the maker of the motion and amendment. 85,000.
85,000.
If there are no further, comments,
Call for the question.
call for the question.
Mayor, I don't know if there was a second to the.
Support.
motion.
Second.
Second is Commissioner Adams.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Abstain from the vote, please. Abstain from the vote.
That's all right.
Yes or no?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
No.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Mayor Muhammad.
No.
Motion carried.
Staff communication, Deputy.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Well, we go to this.
I'll support.
Mayor Pro Tem
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
You already asked for reports.
Motion made.
You already started reading.
Because if you don't support, then you voted down.
No, you already started reading.
Clerk.
Somebody made no motion?
He made, the Mayor Pro Tem made a motion to adjourn.
Oh, okay, and call the question.
Commissioner, Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
No.
Commissioner Jones,
No.
Commissioner Isom,
No.
Commissioner Adams,
No.
Commissioner Harrelson,
No.
Commissioner Singleton,
No.
Commissioner Henry,
No.
Mayor Muhammad.
Yes.
Somebody.
Motion carried.
Staff communications, the attorney.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no report tonight.
Community economic development.
Thank you, Your Honor. No report this evening.
City clerk. Commissioner Harrelson.
No.
Commissioner Henry.
I don't know if I was a citizen sitting out there listening, and I didn't know the person that was hired, I would want to know something about that person. And I don't know if it's appropriate that we introduce that person now or in the near future, but he is going to be someone that's going to be working for the residents of Benton Harbor. And his letter to introduce himself to us was just empowering. He is a local. He is, he lives here in the city. He's worked in City Hall before. And we think that he is a great fill-in until we can move forward. I don't know if he wants to be talked to right now or not, but in the near future, we'll introduce him to everyone. He ready. He's ready, guys. He's gonna introduce himself.
Which now is not the time, it's commission comments, that's it.
It should have been city comment.
Yeah.
Because I got a question.
Signed in when you. Next week.
Commissioner Henderson.
I'm through.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor.
They didn't know that they were supposed to sign in.
I would just like to say tonight, and I'll say it again to the city commission and to this council. Please close those doors, please, Mr. Boyd. Thank you.
Just for clarity, citizens' comments was first. So we apologize to anyone who missed that part of the agenda, but citizens' comments was first.
So scary.
I'd just like to say, again on tonight, regardless whether you agree or disagree, specifically to my colleagues, we are one body. We do not have a right to disrespect or to do some or say some of the things that we say. Even in the audience, if you disagree, you have a right to disagree because that's a democracy and that's how things work. You have an opportunity to use your voice at the polls that's coming up. You have a right to disagree with somebody outside of it, but it's not okay. The level of disrespect that we show each other, whether we agree or disagree, especially this body, we have a right to stand together and to protect our city. Whether we agree or disagree with actions or whatever's been said, we have a right to protect the city from anything. No person or entity is worth us getting sued, regardless of whether we agree or disagree with comments, with actions, or whatever. So we need to work on our civility, especially among, because whether you agree or disagree, we still have a right to protect our city from harm. Regardless of what somebody else says, we shouldn't be given media comments because what was said was what was said. They're all here, they got their comments. We need to just walk away and let it be what it's gonna be. Because all of this stuff is recorded, it's public record. They already know. I don't give interviews, and I do that on purpose. Because what I said is what I said in this meeting. I don't have anything else to add to it or to take away. We have a right to protect our city, whether we agree or disagree with what has happened and what was said. I wasn't here Monday because I was ill, and I forced myself to come out tonight. We don't have a right to inject our opinion of what we think is going to happen just because we think it's going to happen because somebody's done something you didn't like. That's part of democracy. That's part of it. We have a right to protect this city. I'm a taxpayer, and many of these people are too. We have a right to protect that. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Singleton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I just say that everything according to the charter stated that we must and we shall have the city manager who is a vacant position. We need to, I believe, in the best interest of the citizens, protect the city that we should have until we find a permanent one. So I know folks, when we come to this type of stuff, folks get all bent out of shape, but I signed up to protect and serve and protect. So it's a vacancy, I believe, without one, it exposes us to a lot of things. We got all kinds of issues that's going on. We really don't need the position to be vacant at all a long time. So it is vacant, so we fulfill that until such time we get a permanent city manager. So I think there's a process that we do that, but it's happened in the past where people have came in and served as interim. I believe the candidate that the person that was after reviewing their documents is well able to hold it down until we do something permanent. This is a meeting going on outside too. Basically, that's my statement. We got a lot of issues, water issues, all kind of stuff that don't need to continue to go on without somebody capable of holding down and representing us. So that's my statement.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Rice.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Thanks for everybody for coming out tonight. You know, it's been a long week, but you know, we got to trust the process. You know, but we all come together. You know, just work together for the betterment of Ben Harbor. This can't work, but we got to believe in each other. Let's come together. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I want to thank the residents for taking time out of their busy schedules to come down here and find out how your local government is working for you or not. Because of the complaints I get, I know that sometimes we don't and we can't because money is everything and it's something that's very scarce around here and we don't have a lot of to take care of a lot of the things that we need to. I'm going to apologize for us having to have special meetings, but that's a part of the process that's in place for us to take care of things like this. We have some council rules that allow us to do things in a session to where we won't have to have special meetings, but that's another talk show that we'll get to when it comes to legislation that's supposed to work for us instead of against us. I'm hoping that the gentleman, Mr. Ellis Mitchell, that has brought his services forth will do us one grave favor, because I can remember a time that wasn't so long ago that the city manager office had a open door policy that he would extend that for beginners. At least take the blinder off the door. When it went up, it was kind of like I have something to hide. And then with all the noise in the background, are you part of what's being hidden? I mean, come on. I've never had to endure somebody sitting out in the audience bullying me. I'm not one to be bullied. A resident bullying is against the law, is it not, Officer Clark? Okay, and now it's out in the hallway loud, that's disruptive. We go to jail when we call the police officers to our house and that type of stuff is going on. Somebody's going to jail. I wish nobody no ill will. I've been down here for 20 years, making changes in this community that some people are living and enjoying right now, believe it or not. I've been very instrumental in the growth of Benton Harbor, believe it or not. Very. And I will continue to do so if Benton Harbor elects me to be. And that's the process. And if they don't, I'm going to still live and I'm going to continue to breathe and I'm going to pay my taxes. And I might do what y'all do sometimes. Some of you that care to come down here and raise hell. Because that's your right. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. As you can see, the city of Benton Harbor has reached a level of turbulence and uncertainty where we terminated one manager, declared an emergency, now hiring an interim manager. The city of Benton Harbor currently is under review by the Housing, Urban Development, HUD. Very critical point in our review with HUD. There's concern there as it relates to the stability of the government. The city of Benton Harbor is currently in the consent agreement, and the DEQ, the state of Michigan, is very concerned as it relates to the stability. I spoke with the Treasury, and there's concerns on the state level in terms of the stability and where Benton Harbor is headed. Whatever side of the pendulum or argument that we are on, one thing that I can say that what is happening is not good. And it does not look good. My hope and prayer is that out of this chaos, hopefully order and normalcy will prevail. Because people in these seats, it's us today, it'll be somebody else tomorrow. But ultimately, it's the residents in the community that will bear the brunt of the decisions that we make sitting behind these desks. So I just ask for residents to pray for the city of Benton Harbor as we transition and we try and figure out the direction and who will be managing this city. To the interim manager, you're no stranger to the city of Benton Harbor. You have seen managers fired. You've seen a lot as it relates to the city of Benton Harbor. I think it's unfortunate that you are returning under the same circumstances. So hopefully we can bring again our city back to normalcy where the residents, the citizens, the stakeholders, the people who want to see Benton Harbor successful will have the confidence that we will reach that point again. God bless you, and I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Or
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Isaac?
Yes.
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 Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Yes.
See? Yeah, took a minute.